The writing in The Chosen continues to impress me beyond belief. This last week, we got a live stream from Dallas Jenkins showing us 2 new scenes from The Chosen, but the scene that really I want to talk about today is the scene with Matthew and his parents. If you didn't get to see it, I'm so sorry. We can't share it with you because Dallas has asked us specifically not to share this scene out to the public as it's not finished yet.
We do not want those out there, and I'm sure there's going to be some of you who probably screen recorded it and are going to want to try to post it publicly. We're going to take that down if that happens. We just don't, we're doing this for you. It's just a special gift for this live stream, and then we're taking it down. We just don't want it out there publicly.
But man, if you missed it, I'm so sorry. We're going to be talking about it today, and I'm going to break it down to the best of my ability, but I think that this scene matches up perfectly with what we've seen from The Chosen so far, and it continues to show us how amazing the writers are in controlling this narrative and showing us who these characters are bit by bit, piece by piece. And truthfully, you're going to want to watch this. Throughout both season 1 and season 2, I have felt that Matthew has been mischaracterized by a lot of the Chosen community, showing that they don't really see the truth behind who Matthew is and what he's done in the past. That he was, well, a horrible person in some ways, and he took advantage of a lot of people. And so as we look at this new scene, it clarifies so many things. The first point being that Matthew was not a good person. He did some horrible, horrible things. You see, in this scene, Matthew sends a Roman guard to his parents' house. As the Roman guard knocks on the door, well, his father answers. The Roman reads this letter that says that he owes taxes to Rome, owes a tribute to Rome. And Alpheus, Matthew's father, can't pay it. There's no way. He doesn't have the money right now. And so the Roman soldier begins to arrest him. And in doing so, Matthew stops the process. Alpheus looks over at him in disgust as he's being arrested by this Roman soldier, and Matthew ends up convincing the Roman soldier to let him go. Alpheus and Matthew then have a moment of conversation. But you see in this beginning portion that Matthew was trying to scare his father into paying his taxes. Matthew didn't want to let his father know that he was his publicanus. He was his father's tax collector. And this is a huge deal for the Jewish culture. Remember, Matthew would not have been taking only what was due to the Romans, but he would have been taking extra for himself. Why do you think Matthew is the wealthiest among the disciples? Why do you think he has the nicest house, the nicest clothes, the servants that hold things and give things to him on the way out from his house? The reason for this is because he is taking money from the community and betraying them. This is huge. And it really shows here Matthew's tendencies and Matthew's mindset as a tax collector. Matthew half-heartedly apologizes during this scene. He says this, "I'm sorry. I didn't want you to know. I didn't choose this district." And in saying this, he is not apologizing to his father for doing his job. All he's apologizing for is that he happens to be his father's tax collector. This is a hard thing. But if we look at season 2, we see as Matthew acknowledges this fact in itself. As he's following Jesus, we see the growth in Matthew throughout the first 2 seasons. And here's a scene that reminds us of this.
I'm a bad person, Mary.
Matthew.
No. My whole life. All through me. No faith.
As Matthew looks at Mary in her despair and in her turmoil, he looks at her and he says, "I'm not a good person." Finally understanding where he's come from so that he can begin to grow into the next stage of who he's going to be. And that is going to be amazing. I can't wait to see that. Now, many people over the last year have been arguing with me online, on YouTube or other forums, telling me that Matthew was forced into being a tax collector in The Chosen. And this is just not the case at all. Now, they get this from a conversation that we see with Philip in season 2, episode 2. So let me show you that.
How did you memorize prophecy?
In Hebrew school, like all Jewish boys, didn't you?
I started, but then I skipped ahead.
Skipped ahead? Never heard of anyone skipping ahead. What did they do that for?
I was sent to apprentice under a bookkeeper.
Were you that good with numbers or that bad with Torah?
I was proficient in both.
No, I'm kidding. How old when you skipped ahead?
8.
8?
I showed unusual promise.
I bet you did. How come you never circled back to Torah?
I was paraded before the magistrate. Rome offered me higher wages than the annual income of my father and 3 of his brothers combined. Bought my first house when I was 13.
Why did you need to buy a house?
My father...
Kicked you out. I don't blame him.
I thought you said...
He's a man. He acted by man's standards.
Now, in this scene, Matthew says that at the age of 8, he was taken out of a regular Jewish school and put into basically an apprenticeship of a bookkeeper. And this is because he was so good at math and understanding the way things worked. But this does not mean that Romans took him and brought him into being a tax collector. This would have been a Jewish bookkeeper that was training him. Then, after that, because he was so good at that job, they paraded him in front of the magistrate, and then he chose to be a tax collector. Now, we get concrete proof of this in this brand new scene with Matthew and his father. Right after Matthew says that he didn't choose this district, his father immediately roars back with this. You chose this job. The Romans never forced you into it. You chose to apply. You chose to betray. Now, this is an intense moment with Matthew and his father. His father is just telling him how it is that he betrayed the family, that he chose to apply, that he chose this life, and he's hurting the people around him. Now, this reminds me of another scene that we've seen in The Chosen, Season 2, Episode 3. Remember when Peter was attacking Matthew? Let's listen to the words that he uses.
Do you even know what it's like to be Jewish? To suffer for centuries and centuries because of it, but to still commit to it? To protect our heritage even though it never stops being painful, because the one comfort we have is to know that we're doing it together. That we're all suffering together. But if we just wait a little longer, if we hold tight just a little more, we'll have rescue, because we're chosen, all of us. And you betrayed that, and you spit on it. I can't forgive it. I'll never forgive it.
All right.
Very similar, right? And if we look back at this moment right here,
And you betrayed that, and you spit on it. I can't forgive it.
we see as Matthew contemplates something. Now, I know the writers probably weren't thinking about this exact moment, but what if Matthew is contemplating what his father said to him? The very same words of betrayal. Here again, with a new person, someone else who's speaking out against Matthew, showing him the error of his ways. At this point, I truly believe that Matthew still didn't fully understand what he did wrong, or what he could have chose differently. But here, I think he's starting to get it. The 2 points are connecting. His father raging at him, and now Simon Peter doing the same. And it's so amazing to me how this is shot in general. Look at the 2 scenes together. Matthew's father is angry at him on the right side of the screen, pointed right at him. And then here, Peter is the same frame, the same moment, screaming at Matthew, almost like he's reliving that moment. I don't know if that's intentional, but if it wasn't, I'd be pretty surprised, because that seems like it fits so well. Now, in the earlier scene with Mary Magdalene, Matthew also says that he had no faith. And here, he proves that again. Talking with his parents, he says this: I chose a secure future. And his mother says, you were told to trust in Adonai with all your heart, and not lean on your own understanding. He says, I have trusted. Can you name one thing Adonai has done for our people in 100 years? 500? Then his father says, a traitor and a blasphemer. Eli Shiva, cover the windows and put on your veil. We will sit Shiva for 7 days. Matthew looks at his father and tries to call him Abba. Alphaeus looks at him and says, don't call me Abba. And Matthew says, what? And then Alphaeus ends this conversation with, I have no son. And if you remember in Season 2, Episode 2, this conversation with Gaius.
Matthew, another unhappy citizen expressing his disapproval?
I'll be fine.
Oh, you're disgusting. Go home.
I have a job to do. My father never allowed me to shirk responsibility.
Well, he raised you right. You must have Roman blood.
We don't speak.
Jews are odd.
People are.
How can you not have a relationship with your own father?
He says he has no son.
This is the first scene that we're going to get in Season 3 of The Chosen. The first thing that we're going to see as we sit in the theaters and watch Episode 1 and 2 all together. It's going to be amazing. But this for me is such an indicator of how they're going to treat characters this season. That they're going to continue to build upon the things that we've done in the past in season 1 and season 2. And for Matthew specifically, we're going to see a lot of new changes for him. We're going to see new clothes. We already know that. We're going to see a new interaction with his parents. I truly believe that we're going to see his dog again, obviously. We've seen the filming of that. We've seen his parents coming in for different scenes. And I think we're going to get some reconciliation there. Because truthfully, he has to approach this first, right? This is the moment that he hurt everybody the most. And then he's got to build from there. And so I'm so excited to see Matthew as he grows throughout this season. And I hope that he has a moment with Simon Peter soon as well. Maybe not in this season, maybe next season, who knows. But I think that moment needs to happen between the two of them as well. A reconciliation between the two of them so that they can work together in ministry and do the things that Jesus is asking them to do. This was a gift. An amazing glimpse into a reconciliation moment, or at least the beginning of one, for Matthew, showing us where he's come from in a way better picture than we've seen before, so that now we can see where he's going. Did you know that we have a podcast as well? If you guys want to see that podcast early before anybody else, then make sure you sign up to our Patreon over on patreon.com/thesnipelife. This is a great way for you to support this channel and help us doing more content just like this. I hope you like this video, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.
No, it's hard. It's hard making those stupid mistakes. I can't stand seeing the youth kids just destroy their lives over, like, it hurts, you know?
Yeah.
These decisions that you make because you want to hook up or you want to do what everybody else is doing, it hurts you. It hurts the person that you're going to be with. You know, like all those decisions I made out of stupidity. You know, like, oh, because I want to live my best life, because I want to do the fun things. I want to be part of this fun stuff, right? This fun stuff that isn't worth it.
Yeah.
It's not worth it. So, yeah, that's why it's like, I can't believe I hurt you like that.